back to the Morning Brew. Trinidad and Tobago's very own Monopoly has been launched. It was launched just before Christmas, and we in Trinidad and Tobago deserve this. We've got enough characters for a game like Monopoly. I want to welcome to the show its founder and its maker, Christopher Naranjit. Christopher, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being here. Tell me about Not a Real Place. That's the name of the game.
Well, you summed it up pretty well. Is a Trinidadian version of Monopoly. However, it is not just a Monopoly game with Trinidad words.
So I'm going to ask you to just hold it up while you give us a brief introduction for it. It'll be fantastic.
So first of all, we have a prettier board than Monopoly. So we have the nice beach scene going around there. And yeah, there's a lot of original artwork that went into it.
So go around the perimeter of it and tell me what it will look like.
Okay, cool. So we start off at month end. Down at the
That's
corner,
a good place to start.
Which is where, you know, you get your little salary.
So is it like Park Place?
Well, no, this is Pasco.
Okay, good.
So you go to Pitch Lake, Carney Swamp, Wildfall Trust, Wallerfield, Holmes Roti, and you move on and you move on. What I would say is, instead of focusing on how the board looks, this is available on our Facebook.
Right.
And people could go and take a good look at how the board looks, and we could talk a little bit more about how the game is played.
All right, so let's talk about how the game is played.
Okay, so instead of just rolling and moving as in Monopoly, I wanted to give people a little bit more control over what happens on a turn.
Right.
I'm a big fan of making decisions and being punished for them or rewarded for them. So when you start off, of course, you could roll the dice and you could move along with these beautiful, like, Trinidadian player pieces. This is a bucket of chicken.
Bucket of chicken, I like it.
This is a music truck with a hype man included.
A music truck.
So you move around. The first edition you'll probably notice is the corruption menu.
Right.
Now, in the rule books, I like to point out that this is a parody, and I hope it makes you laugh instead of cry. But if this makes you cry, please be the change. I support you 100%. Yeah, so with the corruption menu, you could pick one of these options to do something that you wouldn't otherwise get to do by the rules.
Right.
You could pay half price for something. You could re-roll your dice. So, you know, you could do some corrupt actions. If you do that, however, you have to take a cube called a corruption cube. It's a little black cube, and it's going to amount to a little mass in front of you, and it's going to represent what an awful person you are. And over time, something might come up to make you roll for corruption. If that happens, you roll 2 dice. If you have more corruption cubes than the number you've rolled, you must pay $500 and go to Golden Grove. So it allows you to make more dynamic decisions during the game, but it also makes you think about the issue of corruption that I think is in a lot of people's mind without understanding it and even being able to laugh at it.
Silently.
I don't think we could we could really address it. The other thing is there's a pothole mechanic. So as you're driving along these roads, you're going to have to avoid potholes. Potholes are going to be placed on different properties, and if you arrive at a pothole, you'll have to stop on that location. Anybody could work together to remove a pothole by paying $80 to Central Bank. In my experience, people don't do it. They always say somebody else will do it. And that's a small little lesson that I think we could look at, that we see a lot of people thinking that a problem will be solved by others. Instead, in this game, if you put the little $80, you could remove a pothole, and that will allow people to move more clearly. You could also place a pothole by calling somebody to come and fix your water, and you put the pothole down. What that does is you could sort of control where people have to stop. Instead of being controlled by the dice, you could make sure somebody stops on your property.
What inspired you to build this?
Easily. Triniopoly inspired it. Beautiful wooden artwork. People started calling me and asking me for Triniopoly, and I directed them back to the creator. And I run a business called Board at Home. We have the largest board game library in the Caribbean, and people come to us weekly to play board games.
Right.
People also call us out to bring our board games to them, so you could look for us. It's BOARD. The tagline is "Don't be bored at home, bored at home." And I like board games. I think that they're the most intellectual part of my life. They could get very complex. We have some games with 48 pages of rules, and I love them. I love sharing them. I've seen them keep families together, and I've seen them help people through psychological issues. I've seen them do a lot of good work.
Yeah, I mean, playing Monopoly is fantastic. I mean, everybody loves Monopoly, but this in itself, you don't.
I don't like Monopoly.
This in itself offers Trinbagonians a chance to be real, rooted in our own culture.
Yes, and I think that's important. Growing up, our media diet is quite foreign. And as a result, we've accepted a lot of foreign ideas and behaviors. And I don't like it. I remember when Globe closed and people in Movie Town told me I'm not allowed to talk during the movie, and I was like, oh, I don't understand. We're a nation built on talking. Let me talk during the movie. I do, but not during the serious scenes. So, yeah.
What do you hope that it does for the country?
I don't want it to do anything for the country. I think that people have too wide an expectation of what any single thing could do. Nothing does something for a country. Things do things for individuals, and those individuals could go on to make individual changes. What I want is for people to think about things. There are a lot of hidden ideas in here that some people might think are mistakes, but when you take it on, they're deep and considerate statements that I'm making about our history, I'm making about our society. A simple thing, we could all relate to that pothole situation, saying somebody else will fix it. And I think it's important that that happens. If children grow up playing this game, they will already have the mental schema of how that psychological process works. When they grow up and they get a little bit big and they have to deal with this in the real world, they would have had that to rely on. I've learned so many life lessons from board games. And by that, I don't mean Monopoly and Scrabble. There are 90,000 board games on the largest database, and they can be quite diverse. And I really hope that somebody thinks about this. I hope people argue about it. I would love if it makes somebody vex, and I would love if it makes somebody else happy. I didn't even get to talk about my favorite mechanic, the one that celebrates Trinidad, the awards mechanic. You could end this game with $0 and still win if you invested in the right things, if you invested in ecotourism by buying eco spots, then you could win an award for that. And I feel like we're such an accoladed nation. We have Nobel laureates, we have Olympiads, we have so many people. Like it's something that is worth appreciating about ourselves.
It really is, and you should be proud of it. I just want to get quickly, how much does it cost?
This is $500, but it's not available right now because it's sold out in 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, good response, guys.
So, well, you have to keep building on it.
I was thinking, because of so many calls that I've been getting, and now you all were kind enough to ask me to come here. That was a big surprise, nice way to start the new year, that I'll be doing a reprint. However, I will be doing it on a pre-order basis, as I have. So find me on Facebook, Board at Home, TT, or Not a Real Place. And you'll get information about how you could get a copy.
Listen, Christopher, I really appreciate it, and it's innovative people like Christopher Naranjit creating these phenomenal things here in Trinidad and Tobago that may really make us stand out. Happy New Year to you and to your family as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being on the morning show.